No, no, Lord Vader. I'm sorry, Lord Vader. Your lack of commitment is ill. I will use my Darth Vader lightsaber to slash you down, General Veers. No, 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 no. Please, Vader, Lord Vader, please, please don't do anything. Too late. Force choke is imminent. Your demise will be my success. No, no. Make that be a lesson to all of you troopers. And oh, hey, how you doing? Board Game Maniac here. We're going to continue on with the Star Wars Legion rules video, and in this rules video, it's all about armies and building them. Thanks for joining me for this next video in Learning the Rules for Star Wars Legion by Fantasy Flight Games. If you haven't already, check out the first video that I did with the help of two gentlemen, Richard Osborne and as well as Lieutenant Dan Poole. They helped me out with the first video, which was the cards and how to read the cards and all the cards in Star Wars Legion. In this video, we're going to be concentrating on how to build an 800 point army list, and we're going to hopefully cover everything we need to do in this video to build 800 points. Now again, 800 points is your standard size game for Star Wars Legion, but you can play more, you can play less, you can play a 500 point game, and like skirmish game is classified as a 500 point game, and there's a little bit of variance into the rules, but we're not going to cover the skirmish game and building army list for that. We're going to be just tackling the 800 point list, and just like the other video, this is the rule book that we are going on, and you can find this on Star Wars, for Star Wars Legion. You can find it on fantasyflightgames.com, and you can click on Product Star Wars Legion Rules, and you can download it. And the version of this, just so everybody is aware again, it is version 1.6.1. Effective date is February 28th of 2020. So everybody is on the same page with this, because I'm sure more rule sets are going to be out after this video, or they might even come out before this video is released for everybody to watch. But in case it is or it's not, just so everybody's aware, this one I'm basing all these videos off of is this rule set. And again, I just want to give a quick shout out to Richard Osborne, because he helped me with creating this video. Like, he's a member of Star Wars Legion. He plays Star Wars Legion a lot. He's a member of one of the Facebook pages and other hobby pages too as well. And he kind of emailed me because I'm like, hey, I need help with this. I'm going to do an army building video. Can anybody help me with that? So Richard Osborne, he said, yep. And he sent me all the information that he knows and what he learned from playing the game. And I'm gathering that, plus combining it with the rule book and the little tiny bit of knowledge which I do know. And we're making this video to help everybody who is either learning to play the game, wanting to play the game, or even as a veteran and just want like a refresher course in rules or what have you. Hopefully these videos are going to be successful. So let's go check that out. And remember, click on the subscribe button, bell notification, and share the heck out of this. Comment the heck out of this if I miss any rules or if I make any error mistakes. So just comment down below and let me know. And now let's go on with the show. Before we go on with how to build an army, we got to talk about a couple of things such as the ranks, the factions, and I strongly recommend that before you watch this video, you want to check out the cards, like how to read the cards and everything, because then you're going to know more info. You're going to have more of an informative decision on when you're creating your army and how to create it. Now, there's other factors you have to consider, such as like the terrain or what your opponent's going to build or anything. So when we're playing this, we are shooting these videos, we are not dealing with the competitive side of it, because it can be very competitive. This is just like a fun casual game. For all of the videos in these, it's going to be based off of that, because I'm sure people have these competitive lists for going and fighting another army and so on, but we're just doing this as if we were playing a fun game. And in the end, hopefully when all these videos are done, we'll shoot an actual 800-point game with utilizes all the rules and not messing them up, because my son Brady and I, we shot some Star Wars Legion in the past on the channel, and the purpose of doing that, like I said, was just so that we could learn the game and people can comment and say like, hey, you did this wrong, this is what you do. And because we did make a lot of rules mistakes, it's common knowledge, but the thing is, that was the whole point of doing this, is so that I can later release the rules videos on how to do everything properly. So again, there's a method to my madness, or my maniacness, I guess is the way to say it. Anyhow, let's continue on with this. So again, remember the rule book that we're referring to. I have some order tokens here on the board. I didn't flip them over yet. And as talked about in the previous video, is these are just cases that you get for coin protect. Anybody who's a coin collector, they have these 36mm coin cases, and they fit perfectly with your order tokens for Star Wars Legion. So I like protecting my stuff, especially games that I want to last a long time, because I love playing them. So just be aware of that. So anyhow, on with the show, like I said. Referring to that rule book on page 5, the heading onto it is Army Building. And it tells you everything you need to know about army building. And I'm just going to read the little blurb out of the first part of this. Is when playing a standard game of Star Wars Legion, which is 800 points, each player brings their own custom army full of their favorite characters, fun strategies, and unique tricks. Building an army allows players to create a force customized to their playing style and strength. One player may create a diverse and flexible force, while another may design an army that enacts a single strategy with merciless efficiency. So again, that's just taken right out of page 5 and talking about point value and everything else. But before we get into the point value and where we are going to be dealing with a standard 800 point game, I want to talk about such things as factions and ranks. Now, we covered factions and ranks into the previous video, but just to reiterate and make sure that we're all on the same page, that is what we're going to do. For factions and ranks, there is a difference, and the difference is a faction is in all like the army. If you're going to be a rebels, if you're going to play rebels or Galactic Empire, so forth, and ranks are within the faction. You have like heavy weapons, you have ground, you have troopers, and so on. So what you see before you is the 4, I got the hiccups here again. Sorry about this, everybody, every single time. But anyhow, what you see before you is the 4 different types of factions that you get as of right now for the game. Now, I heard rumors that they could potentially be adding different factions. I'm not 100% sure. Again, this is just rumors. I don't have any kind of special link with Fantasy Flight Games or anything like that, so you can take it with a grain of salt, which means you can either, oh yeah, they're going to commit, Board Game Maniacs are going to commit with some other factions, or this guy's full of crap. It don't really matter. The thing is I am not affiliated with Fantasy Flight Games, so because of that, I'm just saying what I've heard through the grapevine. Anyhow, okay, so I'm kind of rambling on here, but there's 4 types of factions in this game as of right now. And the factions are going to be the Rebel Alliance, which is here. So whenever you see cards, which we'll talk about cards as we go along when we're building army, and also too as we talked about cards and reading the cards in the previous video. But anyhow, Rebel Alliance is this symbol right here. So you can tell when you see this symbol, it's a Rebel Alliance. Below it is going to be your Galactic Empire, which is this one right here. And now, the Galactic Empire is like Darth Vader, the Stormtroopers, stuff like that. And the Rebel Alliance is Luke Skywalker, the Rebel troopers, and so on. So just be aware of that. This box that you see that is holding up the order tokens, or the command tokens, is from one of the core boxes. This is the core box that you get with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. And you get these two factions into it. This is the core box. The other core box that has General Grievous and Obi-Wan Kenobi, or you get these two factions. Now remember, you don't get these protective discs that are holding the tokens. I just got them from a local jewelry store. Anyhow, so Rebel Alliance, Galactic Empire. Right up here, we have the the Separatist Alliance. So this is like General Grievous with all the droids and everything, and Count Dooku. So that is what that is. That is what that is. That is the other faction, and the last faction is the Galactic Republic. So with Obi-Wan Kenobi and the clone troopers, the Galactic Republic. So again, Rebel Alliance, Galactic Empire, Separatist Alliance, and the Galactic Republic, which is really cool. Now, one little note that I want to talk about the factions into the game. When you are playing this game, you cannot mix an army up of part rebels and part clones. You can't do that. Or part stormtroopers, part clones. You have to, your full faction have to only be whatever it's going to be. So all of the same has got to be into your faction, which is rebels, or it's pretty self-explanatory, unless they do change the rules for that. But as far as I know, as it stands, like with the Rebel Alliance, you can only have Rebel Alliance into your group, unless, you know, if they come out with something like the Scum and Villainy and so forth, or something like that you can put bounty hunters into it. But there is bounty hunters in the game. And like you have Boba Fett and Bosk and everything, and they're kind of classified, if you're going by X-Wing and that, they're kind of classified as Jabba the Hutt. They're in that kind of faction. But for this game, and as it stands right now, they are considered the Galactic Empire and not like the Scum. So just be aware of that. Like I said, I keep saying be aware of that. I got to try to stop saying be aware of that, blah. Anyhow, so again, that is your 4 types of factions. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at the different types of ranks and the limitations. But again, just so we're clear, remember that when you are building an army and you're going to, just say you decide you're going to do all rebels, then in your army you can only have all rebels. Like you can't have Luke Skywalker and Count Dooku, because that will not work, because that's 2 different times, and it don't make sense into the Star Wars canon, and you have to stick with the rules. So just be 100% sure on that if you're playing rebels, you only have rebels into your list, or Galactic Empire, you only have Galactic Empire in your list, and so on. So be aware of that. I said it again. Anyhow, let's go on and look at the different ranks you can get in the game. So we're just going to concentrate for this video. We're actually going to only concentrate onto the Galactic Empire. Darth Vader, the Sith, Stormtroopers, Boba Fett in this circumstance. So that is what we're going to be concentrating on. Be aware of that. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So what we are going to look at now is we're going to flip over them order tokens to reveal the different ranks into the group and talk about them. So let's just flip over one, and we'll go from there. Now, I may not have all of the order tokens for the ranks as of yet, because I do have quite a bit of Star Wars Legion miniatures, but I don't have them all. So just, if I don't have anything, I will say like, hey, we're missing this one, or we're missing that one. So again, we're going back on page 5. Let's flip over this first token. Now you can see it's kind of like a a triangle here. So what that is called is the corps, or C-O-R-P-S, corps. Each army must include 3 to 6 core units. So when we get into looking at the cards and building army, you'll understand more and more, but in an 800 point standard game, you have to have at least 3 units, 3 core units, up to 6. You can't have any more of that. And that's pretty self-explanatory. When we get into it, you'll understand even more. So let's flip over the next one here. So again, core units, kind of like a triangle. This one, interesting. That one there is the commander. So the commander, like Darth Vader is one of them, General Grievous is another. And for a standard 800 point game, each army must include 1 to 2 commander units. So that means that you can have 1 to 2, you can't have any more, but you have to have at least 1 commander unit into your faction list for an 800 point standard game. All right, next, let's flip over the other one. That one there is operatives. Each army may include up to 2 operative units. Up to 2 operative units. So again, there's key words here that you have to listen to. I noticed this when I was reading the rule book and so forth. So again, I'll repeat the operatives. Each army may include up to 2 operative units. May is the key word. So you don't, in your 800 point list, you don't have to have any operative units if you don't want to. But it's a may, and you can only have up to 2 in a 800 point game. But again, if I read back the commander one, each army must include, so you have to have a commander, but you may have operative units. Now, let's flip over another one. This here symbol right here, and that symbol is support. I'll read what it says in the book on page 5 again. Each army may include up to 3 support units. So for 800 points, you may include up to 3 support units. And we'll flip over this one here. Oh, that one looks pretty interesting. That one is a heavy unit. Each army may include up to 2 heavy units. So may, again, if you, in an 800 point list, you could have like just your commander and all corps, and that's all for 800 points if you wanted to. But you can't exceed the max of 6 units in the core. So just, we're on the same page, on page 5 into the rule book, it explains it. You know, ones that I am missing here that I don't have is special forces. When I say special forces, I mean this symbol right here. That is the symbol for special forces. When I said I don't have any special forces as of yet for the Empire. So I'm just taking one that is from the Rebel, because I do have some Rebel Force special units, and that is the token or the symbol for special forces. And in the special forces on page 5, it says each army may include up to 3 special force units. So again, you have to really, really look at the keywords. They're not italicized or bold or anything into it, but you just gotta look at little tiny words that I call them keywords. There is keywords into the game too as well. And I think they should have included these into the keyword, just so interpretation of this is a lot more simple. So I'm just gonna flip these back over here. And the reason why we're just flipping them back over is so that we can just look at them all together again. So going down the list, one more time, just so before we go on any further and we're all clear about this. So command token, this is the symbol for the commander. And each army must include 1 to 2 commander units. We've got this token right here. They're operatives. Each army may include up to 2 operative units. We got the core. Each army must include 3 to 6 core units. Special forces. Each army may include up to 3 special force units. Support. Each army may include up to 3 support units. And finally, well, I'm moving the box a little bit, is your heavy, which is up here. Each army may include up to 3 heavy units. And that is it for the difference between your factions and your ranks. So these are your ranks. That's the type of factions. But there's 4 factions in the game so far, like I explained. Let's go on. We are now going to go through and build an actual 800-point army list for the Galactic Empire, because Richard and myself are on the same page with this, that we love the bad guys. So we're just going to build a bad guy army list. So actually, I'm kind of stopped myself in mid-thought here. Now, when we build a mid-size army list, the only thing that we don't have for the Galactic Empire is the units that I explained to you, the special forces. So we're not going to include that into this army list. But again, you can put that into your army list if you want. It's just, I don't have any special forces at this time, so I'm not going to include that in my list. And what Richard kindly did was, when he sent me an email explaining what he knew and everything, he broke it down and how he built an army. So I kind of wrote the same thing out. So what I did is I kind of combined the both of them together, and we are going to build it for that. Now, one thing I want to mention to you is about building armies. You know, pull out a calculator, you can calculate the points, or you can also go to an online list builder and you can just build them that way. Now, Richard did mention too, I always do it manually. I never knew that a list builder existed online, but he put, I'll just read it, list builders, to make it easier to build an army, you'd rather use a list builder. There's Tabletop Admiral is one, or Battle Scribe. That's his 2 favorites that he likes to use. Not that there's other ones out there, but again, I was not aware that there was a list builder period for this game. So Richard, thank you for that. So again, remember, you can Google those 2, the Battle Scribe, which you're probably familiar with because a lot of them use it for 40K, and also Tabletop Admiral 2 as well. So let's start building our army list of 800-point standard game. The list that we're building, again, it's not a competitive list. I'm sure you'll have a better list than this. This is just like a basic list to teach everybody, including myself, how to build an 800-point standard list. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off by adding up all of the units themselves before the upgrade, so that we can figure it out. Now, there's some people I notice when they're adding up, they like to do like 1 unit and then I'll add all the upgrades and then just keep going on. We may end up doing that, I'm not sure yet, but what I like to do just personally is I like to add all the units up, like the core units, the commander unit, everything else, and then after that is all done, then I'll start adding the upgrades to get as close as I can to 800 points without going over it. All right, you can see here, this actually is made by friends of mine over at 6, that's number 6, squaredstudios.ca. It is a nice little MDF tray that they made to help you organize things such as for Star Wars Legion, or many other games too as well. I did a review onto this into the channel, so if you want, you can go back and look up 6 Squared Studios, Legion style display trays, card trays, and you can watch that video if you want to as well, because I do have a link for it. But again, it's 6, that's the number 6, 6squaredstudios.ca, because they are a Canadian-based company. All right, so I am going to, first off, we are going to do the man himself, and that is Darth Vader. So that's the card that we are going to do first. Now, these cards, they may potentially have changed, and I didn't download the upgrade cards when I did this video and so forth. So just be aware of that if there is any point change or anything for this. So again, just so we're on onto the same channel and everything else. But you can see Darth Vader here, his point cost, which is up here, it is 200 points. So just him without any upgrades that you can attach these 3 upgrades is Darth Vader. Whoa. Yeah, so he's pretty expensive, but he is one heck of a guy to take with you in your army. Looking at Darth Vader's cards just a little bit closer, I know this is just how you build an 800-point army, but I want to just briefly go over the stats and everything, because we did, into the card breakdown into previous video, we did talk about the symbol. This is the Galactic Empire symbol up here, the point value, the upgrades that he has, his special abilities, his attack with his lightsaber, and what it does. You can have your wounds. So Darth Vader has 8 wounds. He has a defense dice of red, and he don't have any courage value because he don't get scared. He moves at 1, and he don't get any bonuses. And on the back of it, it does explain, like, Impact 3. What Impact 3 means: while attacking a unit that has armor, change up to 3 hit results to critical results. It also has Pierce 3. And when I say it, I mean Darth Vader. While attacking, cancel up to 3 defense, so the shields, which is pretty crazy for Darth Vader. And he also has Deflect. When defending, if you spend a dodge token, you gain a surge equals a block. If it's at range attack, the attacker suffers 1 wound for each surge rolled. So you can just be blocking. It is Deflect. So it's like you see into the movies that the rebels are shooting at Darth Vader, and you know, he's just blocking with his lightsaber, and they're bouncing off and going back and hitting them. So that's what that kind of simulates. He's immune to Pierce. Pierce cannot be used against you. Master of the Force 1. During the end phase, you may ready 1 of your upgrade cards. And we talked about upgrade cards into the past video where it has that little arrow, and you have to turn, if you use it, you turn some of the cards you have to turn to exhaust them, and it takes an action to unexhaust them if you want, like, I think it's called rest, if I'm not mistaken. But with Darth Vader, he has the Master of the Force 1, the number 1, as you can see right there, Master of the Force 1. So he may be Master of the Force 3 or whatever by stacking abilities or what have you. And if that's the case, instead of a 1, just say it had a 2 hypothetically, then he could ready 2 of his upgrade cards that are exhausted. Or if he had the Master of the Force 3, he could do 3 cards, and so on and so on and so on. Relentless. After you perform a move action, you may perform a free attack action. That is awesome to use. I've used that in the past, and it just, yeah, you just get an extra attack and you can go to town onto them. And look at the dice you use when you're attacking. 6 red dice. That's in melee, and it's Impact 3 and Pierce 3. So that is the start of what we're doing is for Darth Vader. So we looked over Darth Vader's card. We have his card now. There's 2 other things that we want to get, and that is his command token with the symbol to show that he's the commander. So we put them there. And one other thing that we are missing, and that is the miniature itself for the big man. So that is my Darth Vader miniature. Let's see if we can get him in focus. There we go. So that is Darth Vader. I'm just going to stick him right here for now until we go through the upgrades now. But we are not going to do any upgrades until we build just the basis of this list, this 800-point list. So right now, as it stands, just Darth Vader like he is, it's 200 points. So we have 600 more points to go. Just one little quick note again about the commander, which is Darth Vader. Remember, if you refer to the ranks on page 5, each army must include 1 to 2 command units. So if I wanted to, I can include another command unit if I want, but there's some stipulations for that. And the stipulations are, now if you look at this card, you see Darth Vader's name, it has a little dot on it. So that little dot means that he's an individual unit, so you can only use 1 of them in your army. You can't have 2 Darth Vaders. Let's bring this up close, see if I can get it more in focus. You can see there, it's got that black dot right there for Darth Vader. So again, that means that you can only use 1 of Darth Vader. And if you look over here where it has the command unit symbol, and it has 1. So that's how many is in that unit, is only 1. And if you really wanted to, you could add another command unit, because you can see here, General Veers himself, he's got the dot onto it beside his name, so that means that you can only use one of him. He has a command token and it's a 1 unit. So you could add him too as well if you wanted to. His point cost is 80. So when you're constructing the army, and if you don't want to take powerful Darth Vader as your commander, you could take General Veers, or you could take both of them if you want into your army. But remember, anything you take adds up to your 800 point list, but we're not going to include him. We are actually only going to use Darth Vader, only one commander in this list. Since we have Darth Vader, next thing we're going to do is we are going to fill the that you must have into an 800 point standard list, and that is the core units. Because again, on page 5, each army must include 3 to 6 core units. So you can see I have 3 Stormtrooper core units here. Now, what you could do if you didn't want to use a 3 Stormtrooper, you can do, which is a Snowtrooper. I'm just gonna bring that in here. So again, this card here for Snowtroopers, if it gets in focus. Focus, stay focused. All right, so you can see it has the symbol, 48 points. There's the upgrades that you can have. They're unarmed for melee, and they use 11 blaster. On this side, you can see the core symbol, and there's 4 of these units into your standard unit. And you can see the defense dice, the wounds, the courage value, and they get a surge attack bonus. Their movement is only 1. Just so you're aware that you could add this. You don't have to have just all Stormtroopers if you want. But again, I love Stormtroopers, and I'm kind of going off of, well, not kind of, I am going off of the list that Richard sent me, because he explained it so well. And because that, thank you for that, Richard. We are following along with this 800 point list that you did send me. I may tweak it just a little bit if I don't have something that's in the list. So just be aware of that. So thank you very much for that, Richard. I really do appreciate it. All the help you're doing, it's phenomenal. So with the Stormtroopers, okay, so we have 3 Stormtrooper core units. So what we're going to do is we are going to take a close look at the Stormtrooper card before we go on any further, and luckily I have another one right here. So with this, the point value of each Stormtrooper core unit is 44 points. And you can see they have 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of upgrades that they can do. And each Stormtrooper unit has 4 miniatures, and that's the core unit symbol there. So 4 units, they have red defense dice, 1 wound, and 1 for courage value. They get a surge attack bonus. If you roll a surge, it is a hit, and their movement is 2 that you can see right there. And on the bottom of the card is unarmed. So if they're in melee, they only use their fists, and they roll a black die for each miniature in the unit. And if they have a range of an E11 blaster rifle, it's a range of 1 to 3, I should say. And for each miniature in the unit, rolls a white attack die. And if you see there, they have a special ability. I'm trying to keep this on camera. I should probably just lay it on the table and just zoom in, but maybe we'll do that further on. They have Precise 1. When you spend an aim token, roll up to 1 additional die. So if you give them an aim token, you can roll up to 1 additional die, which is really cool. And on the back, it tells you about the Stormtroopers, like a little bit of a blurb there. While armored Stormtroopers were a unique sight across the galaxy. White armed Stormtroopers were a unique, and I'm kind of doing this way. I'm trying to look on camera, look at the viewfinder. Right now, you can read that for yourself. I'm just going to leave it like that because it's going to add more time to the video if I read every card description. But now that is your Stormtrooper cards, and you can see them. So we have 3 units of Stormtroopers. Now let's go for a little closer look so that we can add the miniatures to the card and also the command tokens. The Stormtroopers, again, you notice here it has 4 miniatures for a unit. This is a standard unit with no upgrades. And with each unit, you must have a unit leader. Now, what Fantasy Flight Games have done, which is really cool, is in the instructions that you get for assembling the miniatures. You do get, it tells you what the commander looks like for the unit. So with the Stormtrooper, I'm just trying to find the card here. I should have had it before we even did that, but hey, I had so many things to go through. Here we go. So for these Stormtroopers, I'm going to just show you the card, the assembly guide, which is right here. You can see this one here, he has like a shoulder pad. Oh, there we go, on camera. And it says right there, Stormtrooper Unit Leader. So that is going to be the unit leader. And again, remember, every unit you have to have a unit leader, unless it's only a unit of one, like Darth Vader. He's the commander. You don't need a unit leader plus Darth Vader. So this is the miniature. He has the shoulder pad onto him. He's going to be the unit leader for this unit of Star Wars Stormtroopers. So I'm just going to place him here just for the time being. And remember, up here it shows there's 4 in total, and they all have to have E11 blaster rifles. And this is for your standard Stormtrooper unit. So there's one with the blaster. Here's a look at the E11 blaster rifle, just like that. These have seen a lot of battle going on. So that's 3. And then the 4th is the end of your unit. Now, one thing you're probably noticing is that the bases here I painted them blue. And the reason for that being is when I have more than one unit of the same onto the table, I like to paint each unit the rim a different color so I can distinguish which unit belongs. So again, that's just the thing that I like to do. You don't have to do, you can paint them all black, you don't have to paint them at all. It's totally up to you. But in either case, there is the Stormtrooper right there, the leader, and he's got 3 other ones. Now, the leader also has an E11 blaster rifle too as well. So when you are going to use them in a battle and they decide to attack at range 1 to 3 with their E11 blaster rifle, each of them will get 1 white attack die for that. So just be aware of that. This unit card, when I first started, I was like, oh, so for a whole unit, I only get to roll 1 white die for 4 miniatures like that. That's not good. I don't like that. But this here is each miniature has that. So each miniature would have a white die for their attack. Again, we're going to be doing attacking videos, movement videos, and everything else as time goes on into this series. But right now we are just building the army list. So now what we're going to do is we're going to zoom out to show you the 3 units, the 3 core units, because again, on page 5, you'll have to have 3 to 6. You must have 3 units up to 6 core units for your faction army list of 800 points. That's a mouthful. Okay, so let's zoom out and show you. I'll put them all on the miniatures and I'll show you. There is your 3 core units that you need to have into your army list. And all we have to do now is add our tokens. So each of them will have 1 of these each. So it's not 1 for all of them, because you may have these activated in different areas of the table. And remember, if you're using it, it's there, and once you're done, it's flipped over. But we'll talk about that more later in other videos. Now, so let's go to how much points we have used up so far. I'm just grabbing my calculator here off my phone. So each of these units are 44. So we have 44 plus 44 plus 44. So that's the 3 units, the core units, it's 132. And we also have 2 as well, Darth Vader. So plus 200 equals 332 points. So far with Darth Vader, we're worth 200 points. And each of these core units that are worth 44 points, we have a total of 332 points out of 800 that we have to use. So that is how you start building the list. We're going to continue on now. Before we even touch any upgrades, this is what we have. And now let's go on to building the next part, because we did Stormtrooper core units, Darth Vader. So now let's add a couple of other things here. back onto Darth Vader, we're going to start adding some more. We're going to start adding upgrades now to the list. So right now we have 332 points, and we are going to start giving some upgrades to both the Stormtrooper units as well as Darth Vader before we add any more core stuff. So for Darth Vader, what I'm going to do is, if you look at his card here, you can see again on the left side going down, it shows what upgrades that he can have. So he can have 3 of the Force powers. So this symbol here, I did talk about this into the previous video, but these are the upgrades that he can have. So if you look, that's the symbol there. So you can have 3 of upgrades that have this symbol, but you can't have 3 of the same upgrade card. So again, it is a requisite that you have to abide by when you're playing the game. And that abiding by, again, is so that you are not going to have like 3 Saber Throws or what have you for the upgrade. So be aware of that. So what we're going to add for Darth Vader is we're going to add Force Push for one of his upgrades. So you can see this is Force Push, and this is the symbol I was talking about, that once you use it, it's exhausted by turning it sideways or flipping it over. And by one of your actions you can do, which is called a standby action, or no, not a standby action, a rest action, that's it, where if it is flipped around or exhausted by using that action, you get to pretty much rejuvenate it. So anyhow, this Force Push, you see here it is 10 points, so we got to add that to our total value so far. And it does say subtext of choose an enemy trooper unit at range 1. Perform a speed 1 move with that unit even if it's engaged. So that's a pretty cool card to have. So we're going to place that in one of his upgrade slots. So right now, that is 332 plus 10, which is 342. We're going to give him another upgrade because we can upgrade Darth Vader up to 3 times. The next upgrade that we're going to do, again, it's the same type of upgrade because he's limited to that type of upgrade. It's going to be the Force Choke. And again, this is another one that once you use it, you have to exhaust it, and you can take a rest action to ready it again. And if you notice, it says dark side only, which means that nobody else can use this unless you were a dark side. So like Luke Skywalker could not use it because he's not a dark side. And it says choose an enemy trooper mini at range 1 that is not commander. It suffers 1 wound. So this could be a good card to have, that he just has to be at range 1. And that's it. Like if he's at range 1, he's going to suffer 1 wound. And that's a really powerful card. And that's worth 5 points. So again, we're going to add 5 points more to the total. So 342 plus 5 is 347. And I really like this last card that I'm giving on Darth Vader. It is Saber Throw, because Darth Vader originally don't have any melee range attack. He's only able to attack in melee. So with Saber Throw, it's 10 points, as you can see there. Choose one of your melee weapons. And he only has his lightsaber. Perform a range attack with that weapon against an enemy unit at range 1 to 2, using half of that weapon's dice. So instead of 6 red dice, you're going to use 3 red dice, and you round up. This is treated as an attack action, and it don't have one of the exhaust things. So we're just going to throw that there too as well. And we still have 1 spot on the tray available, but the thing is, we're not going to be using it. So I'm just going to move it over. Pretty easy, just lift it up, use the hole, the finger hole, and pop it out. There. So that is Darth Vader's total. So let's go back here to the calculator so that we can recalculate everything, just so what we have so far. So far, we have 332 points. That's not in counting all of his upgrades. So we're going to add 5 for the Force Choke. We're going to add 10. I'll put them on camera there. And that is for the Force Push. And we are also going to add 1 more. It's another 10 pointer for Saber Throw. So that equals 357 points so far that we have for our faction of the Galactic Empire. So what we're going to do now is, because we have Darth Vader with upgrades, we're going to throw some upgrades now into the Stormtroopers themselves. Looking at the Stormtroopers now, what we're going to do to this Stormtrooper unit, I'm going to do for the other two core units of Stormtroopers that you can't see on camera. So it just is going to mimic the other two. And if you look at the card there for Stormtroopers, they have 4 upgrades that they can do, which is really good. Really good. Oh, my voice is going. At least not hiccuping. I can't say that too loud. So again, you can see the upgrades right here. But let's look a closer look at the Stormtrooper card, which is right here. So the upgrades, the only 2 upgrades we're going to concentrate on at the moment is going to be the heavy weapon upgrade, which is right here, and a personnel upgrade there. So we're going to add both extra Stormtrooper to the group and then a heavy weapon. And I think the heavy weapon we're going to do is the DLT-19. And I'll show you that shortly, what it is. But let's go in closer to look at the upgrades that we're adding. And again, remember, we are mimicking both. We're mimicking this core unit of Stormtroopers with the other 2 that are off camera. You can see the upgrade cards. I already put them on screen. So just go over them. This is your personnel, because you have the icon down here. And that is your personnel icon that reflects onto the Stormtrooper unit card. And with this, it just says Stormtroopers only, add one Stormtrooper mini. And it's for a point cost of 11. So your core unit of 4 goes to 5 because you got an upgrade for another personnel for Stormtroopers. Really cool for 11 points, so it's not expensive. And then the next one is the DLT-19 Stormtrooper. So this guy has the heavy weapon. He has a bigger gun, pretty much, and it does extra damage. So if you look here, it has a range of 1 to 4, and he rolls 2 red dice. So that there is better than rolling the white dice for the attack. And it says Stormtrooper only. Add 1 DLT-19 Stormtrooper mini. It has impact 1 while attacking the unit that has armor. Change up to 1 hit result to 1 crit result. So that is a special thing that happens with the DLT-19, which is really cool. So let's go over to our points, add that into the cost, and see how close you're at 800 now. That is what it looks like with the 2 extra minis added with the upgrade card. So again, each of them are mimicking the same. So you have your extra personnel unit for each one. And he's just holding the E11 blaster rifle. And they also have this here is the DLT-19. You can see there. You can definitely tell the difference between them. So we added that too as well. And remember where I painted the bases this way, because when you're dealing with more and more miniatures, I like doing this so you can distinguish which unit they are from. So let's go now and add up the totals. So looking at this, it is 357. So we are going to add 11 plus 11 plus 11, because that is for the extra personnel. So we're at 390 points. And then we're going to add the DLT-19 Stormtroopers, and they're each 24 points. So plus 24, plus 24, plus 24. You can just multiply 24 times 3 and then just add it, but we're just doing it this way. So out of 800 points, we are now standing at 462 points. That is with Darth Vader upgraded and the 3 core units of Stormtroopers. Always options. And what I mean by options is, instead, just say you wanted to upgrade one of the units and you didn't want to use the DLT-19 Stormtrooper at 24 points, you can opt out to upgrade to an HH-12 Stormtrooper, which you can see right there. This is a refresh card, and it is 34 points. I'll just show you the miniature there. Get him focused. There you go. So again, you could upgrade that too as well. You could upgrade them instead of having the the DLT-19s. You can have all of the HH-12s if you want, or you can have one unit with HH-12 and then two of them with DLT-19s, or you don't have to upgrade them at all. Again, you do have options when you're building an army to play this game for an 800-point list, but this is what I'm just choosing to go by. It's my own personal preference. Again, there's so many lists out there that people have created, both for just playing for fun as well as competitive play. This is just what I've chosen to do. So we're aware. Since we have Darth Vader upgraded completely, and we have the 3 core units of Stormtroopers upgraded, but not completely, we're going to leave the other upgrade slots open that we may add to it if we're trying to fight for points or what have you. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add an operative to this army list of 800 points. Now, an operative, again, on page 5, each army may include up to 2 operative units. And I'm definitely going to be including an operative into this. And who I'm going to choose is none other than Boba Fett himself. Let's go a little closer look at his card. Boba Fett is one of my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe. Just pointing that out. I probably said it many times before in other videos, but anyhow, let's look at his card. So you can see here meets the requirement of having that symbol, which is the Galactic Empire. He is a hefty of 140 points, so he has a lot. He's expensive, not as expensive as Darth Vader, but he is expensive. I used him before, and he's pretty fast, and I've never ever got him destroyed in any games that I played, yet. So just be aware of that. And you can see here, this is the symbol for the operative. So again, the token that we use for him, which is the operative. Get in focus, get in focus. It's not in focus. Now it's getting focus, right? So that's the operative token. And it has a unit of 1 miniature into this unit, so it's only 1. He has a health of 5, he has courage value of 3, his defense is red. He's got both a surge attack bonus and a surge defense bonus that changes to, surge will change to a crit, and a surge for defense will change to a block. So this is really cool. He has jump 2, Arsenal 2, and with Arsenal 2, well, jump 2, it means, what I'm understanding is he can pass over any terrain that is 2 or lower for the height wise. So range, this is a range ruler I'm using. So a range ruler of 2 or under, he can just pass over it, no problem, because he's got the jetpack. Bounty. Now, actually, Arsenal 2 means that he can attack with 2 weapons at the same time, and he has 2 weapons on him, as you can see, his wrist rocket and Fett's E3 carbine 2 as well, so that's going to bonus out good. I love Boba Fett so much. Bounty. After setup, place a victory token on an enemy commander or operative. If you defeat a unit with a victory token, move that token to you. So if you're playing for one of the scenarios you're playing for when you're setting up the field is for victory, for tokens, you get victory points for tokens. You can pretty much mark them, and if they have one, you can take it, so you're going to steal that victory point from them, which is really cool in some circumstances. At the end of the game, if you have a victory token, gain that token. If you have a victory token, gain that token. He is impervious while defending. If the attack pool has Pierce X, X meaning if it has like Pierce 4 or Pierce 3, roll X additional defense dice. So if somebody's attacking you and they have Pierce 4, then you're going to roll 4 extra additional defense dice for that. So again, he is so powerful to have. And also Sharpshooter 2. Now, for Boba Fett, he has boot spikes for his melee, so he gets 2 red dice. His wrist rocket is range 1 to 2 with 2 black dice and impact 1. And he also has the E3 carbine, which is 1 to 3, 2 black dice, Pierce 2. Or Pierce 1, I should say. Now, if we look at the back of Boba Fett's card, it does a little bit more explanation here, because it says impact 1. While attacking a unit that has armor, change up to 1 hit result to a crit result. And the reason with that is, you know, blocking hits but cannot block crits. Pierce 1, while attacking, cancel up to 1 defense dice. So that is just extra too as well for Boba Fett. So let's look at the attached upgrades that I'm going to add to him as well. Before we add the upgrade cards, we have to both put on his token and his miniature. Boba Fett, like the pose, is awesome. I love Boba Fett so much. Yes. And he's got his spiked boots for melee, so he can kick them and, you know, hurt them really bad. So for upgrade cards, we are picking, if you see there, you have 4 upgrades that you can attach, 2 of one kind and 2 of the other kind. I can't recall what they are. You'd have to look at the card breakdown so you'll understand it more. But anyhow, as long as the upgrades match the icons on the upgrade cards. So we are going to equip Endurance. Now this Endurance, at the end of the activation phase, you may remove 1 suppression token. It costs 6 points for that. We'll stick that there. And we are going to also add another upgrade, which is Duck and Cover. While defending against a ranged attack during the apply dodge and cover step, you may gain 1 suppression token, and it's 8 points. Why is that good to add suppression tokens? Well, what I understand into the game is suppression tokens. If you have a suppression token and that unit is being attacked that has suppression tokens, each suppression token adds an extra cover. You can have light cover or hard cover, so 1 or 2. So if you're in light cover and you have a suppression token, you get an extra point to your cover, so it'll give you 2, which the light cover will count as hard cover. This is what I'm understanding. So playing Boba Fett, what I thought is have Duck and Cover to give him an extra suppression token, so that if he's out in the open, he's going to at least have light cover. And because you have Endurance, at the end of the phase, end of the activation phase for Boba Fett, you're going to remove that token that you added to him. And at the end of the entire round, you can remove 1 suppression token. So therefore, he's going to be not getting as many suppression tokens, hopefully, unless he fails, you know, to dodge his rolls when he's being attacked. But anyhow, that's different tactics and so forth. We're just concentrating on building an 800 point list. But again, when you're doing it, the point for this is that you have to think strategy-wise when you're building it, like what will benefit more. So just be aware of that. And here's another upgrade he's going to have, which is here. This is Targeting Scope. You gain Pierce 1. When you spend an aim token, reroll up to 1 additional die for 6 points. So we're going to throw that in here. Now he already has Sharpshooter 2, and if you look here, for Fett's E3 carbine, he has Pierce 1. So because he has Targeting Scope, Pierce 1 will actually go to Pierce 2. So where it says when you spend an aim token, roll up to 1 additional die. So because of that, and they're stackable, when you spend an aim token, you're going to be able to re-roll up to 2 additional die because he has Pierce 2 instead of Pierce 1, because it is stackable. Very cool. And if I am getting any of these rules mistakes wrong, please timestamp the video and refer to a page number into that specific rule book, or because this is what we're doing, is that version of the rule book, so that everybody who's watching this say like, well, you got this incorrect, this is the way it should be. So this is a learning video for everybody, and thank you for everybody who's commenting and letting me know this stuff. And thanks again for Richard. I can't thank him enough for helping me with this stuff. So this is his last upgrade that he can take. And I am doing the Recon Intel. This is a really cool one. You gain Scout 1. After you deploy, you may perform at speed 1 move. And it's only 2 points for that. So it's very low cost. But what's good about this is Boba Fett is already fast. He has a movement of 3. So when you deploy him, he gets to move 1. So he's that much closer, especially if you're trying to get to the other side of the board or get to an objective token. He's going to be that much more closer, and plus where he has he's very fast with 3 for his movement. he's going to be up the board pretty quick. So that is Boba Fett for the total. So we're going to add that to our point cost to see where we stand so far. So right now we are at 462. You can see right there. So Boba Fett is a whopping 140 points, but a well-deserved 140 points, I think. So let's add 140 to it. And then we're going to add our upgrades. So we have 6 for endurance. We have 8 for duck and cover. We have 6 for targeting scope. And we also have 2 for Recon Intel. And that is going to bring our total to 624 points out of 800. So that is a good way. Again, what I like to do is I'll build a list and then I'll look at maybe I should change it up and do this, because it's not set in stone until you're actually your player's ready and you're ready to start playing this game. And once you don't want to change the points, well, because you know you're looking at the battle cards like, well, I should have picked this upgrade instead. You can't go back because that's just wrong. So anyhow, that is Boba Fett, and we're at 624 points. So let's start doing some more upgrade. Maybe we'll add some vehicles next, which I think would be pretty cool to have some vehicles in this list. The next, we're going to add to our 800 point list. We're going to add some 74Z speeder bikes, because I just like them. I'm a big fan of Return of the Jedi, but you know, that's just the way it is. So you can see here, it meets the requirements of a Galactic Empire. It don't have a dot, so you can take as many of these as you want, which is good. Remember the dot for beside Darth Vader. Excuse me, hiccups again. Now, that is the token symbol, and there's 2 for a unit. So therefore you get 2 74Z speeder bikes into this unit. And it only has 1 upgrade that you can do. It don't mean 1 of these per miniature, but this whole unit only has this 1 upgrade. It has cover 1. While defending against a ranged attack, improve your cover by 1. So it has cover already onto it. Remember, there's cover 1 and cover 2. So light cover is cover 1, heavy cover is cover 2. Speeder 1. Now this is a kind of a kicker, but it can work in your advantage if you do it right. While moving, ignore terrain that is height 1 or lower. When you activate, perform a compulsory move. So that means that whenever you choose to activate the 74Z speeder bikes, you have to first do a compulsory move. It don't count as your 2 actions. And you can see their speed is 3. So you have to do that. You have to move their full movement of 3 at the start of their activation. They have 3 wounds. Now, they don't have a courage value. They have a gear icon. So this here is something else that is related just to vehicles. And if you're not sure about that, go back to the last video because I talk about this. They have white defense die, and they both have an attack surge as well as a defense surge, which is really cool. Now, they also do have 2 different types of weapons they can use. The EC-17 holdout blaster, range 1 to 2 with 2 black dice, or an AX-20 blaster cannon 1 to 3, and it's a red, black, and white. Again, this is per miniature in the unit. So if you're attacking with the AX-20, you would, and there was 2 surviving into 2 miniatures in your unit, that would be 2 red, 2 black, and 2 white. It has a fixed front, which means you can only shoot from the front, and impact 1. And we already talked about impact previously, and if we look at this card, it gives you the information like the impact 1. While attacking a unit that has armor, change up the 1 hit result to a crit result. Fixed fronts, the defender must be inside your front arc. So defender must be inside your front arc. So if you're doing it and you shoot, and you're trying to shoot from your side arc, you can't because it is a fixed front, which means you can only attack from the front arc. So let's put this onto the tray and we'll look at it even more. Oh, look at that. It's already there. Looky, looky. Okay. So now we have the card. We are missing the token, and then we're going to do the upgrade. So again, for that token that we are doing, you can tell what token you need because, like I said, it's right there. It shows you. So that's the token, and make sure that it is the proper symbol. Just like for all the other ones, I should have mentioned that before. So we did that. Now we're going to get the miniatures. Now remember, there's 2 miniatures into this. So you can say whatever one you want for the commander, but in the assembly guide it says the guy who is reaching should be the commander. So there is the camouflage scout trooper onto his 74Z speeder bike. So that's 1. And then that's his buddy that goes along with him. That's the 2 miniatures. So that is that. So we can only add 1 upgrade to this. So right now it's at 90 points. But we are going to add an upgrade, which I like for these guys, which is the long range comlink. It's a point cost of 10. So you're looking at, this is going to cost 100 points in total for this unit. And during the command phase, you can be issued orders by a friendly commander or operative regardless of range. So because they are fast, they have movement of 3, they're going to get up the board pretty quick like Boba Fett does. And during the issue order, you don't have to be within range 1 to 3 of your commander to issue the order. You can just, if you have this, you can issue the order if they're at the other end of the board. It don't make a difference. So let's put that there. And let's go and tally what we have now for points. You can see we're at 624. So we add plus 90, because that's how much it costs. And we are going to add the 10 points for the upgrade. And it equals 724. So we are getting very close. And I mean very close to 800 points, which is what we agreed upon, me and my opponent, for this game. Fictitiously, that is. We do have a little bit of points left that we can do. And now, as I mentioned before, the Stormtroopers, the 3 core units of Stormtroopers, I could add upgrades to give more point value if I want. The 74Z speeder bikes are upgraded to their max. Darth Vader is upgraded to his max, and so is Boba Fett. So, just so when you get to this point, this is where you're trying to think like, well, what would be more beneficial? And you can speculate as to like what the terrain's going to be, the conditions, the objectives, everything that could come into play. But again, you don't have to, but you want to try to get to 800 points for the 800 point list as close as possible, or bang on, you don't want to go over. Unless your opponent's like, yeah, you're like 2 or 3 points over it, it's okay. So you just have to talk with your opponent and find out what exactly is. But we are going to that it's strict, it's up to 800 points, and that is it. Now, what I'm going to add is going to be some Snowtroopers. It is a core unit. And remember, with the prerequisite on page 5, you must have 3, but you can have up to 6 for an 800 point list. So right now we are at our prerequisite of 3, but I'm going to add Snowtroopers. And again, it fits because it has the Galactic Empire symbol, and it has a core unit symbol, and it's 4 miniatures, and it has steady. After you perform a move action, you may perform a free range attack action. That's a pretty good thing for Snowtroopers. And you can see they have red defense dice, 1 wound each, and the courage value is 1, and they get a surge attack bonus right here. That'll be a hit, but they're slow though. They're only move 1. And the reason why they only move 1 is probably because they have a little bit more heavier gear than, you know, Stormtroopers or what have you, because Stormtroopers movement is 2. Now, they're unarmed, so they attack with their fists, which is a black die for each miniature in the unit. And they have E11 blaster rifle, the range is 1 to 3, and they roll a white die each for whatever miniatures are into it. So we're going to add that. And again, you can see in the back, whoops, I got to get it on camera. You can see in the back it has a little blurb. I'm not going to read it, but artwork is cool on these. Great job. So that is going to give us 48 more points. We're getting closer to the 800 points. So what we're missing is the token, the order token, command token. And we're also missing the upgrade. So what I'm choosing for upgrades is that it is a unit of 4. I'm just going to add an extra personnel Snowtrooper, and it's 12 points extra for that. So we are going to upgrade for that. And we do have a couple more points out that we can do, because I kind of totaled this off camera just to see what would be great for the list. And we're going to add impact grenades. It's range 1, it's a black die per miniature. Impact 1, while attacking a unit that has armor, change up to 1 hit result to a crit result, and it's 5 points. And the reason why I like adding that to it is because you don't know what your opponent is taking. They may have like a weapon that has, or I mean a vehicle that has armor onto it. So because you are using the impact grenade that has impact 1, it's going to help you with the armor. Because there's some vehicles that are out there that they have the rule so that they cancel all hit results, but the crits will go through. But this here would change a hit to a crit, so that could benefit. And the last but not least that we're missing is our miniatures. I kind of paint them up the Galactic Marines instead of the Snowtroopers, but I am using them as Snowtroopers, but you can use them whatever way you want. So we're just going to add them. That's your three of them with your 11 blaster rifles, your X1 for your personnel, and your commander of that unit, which is right there. And that is it. So let's now add up. So we're at 724. We are going to have to continue and add the extra. So 724, the base 4 miniature core unit is 48 points, so plus 48. It's 772. We added the 1 Snowtrooper personnel upgrade for 12 points. And we also added the impact grenades for 5 points. So we are sitting at 789 points. Can we upgrade any more? We could potentially upgrade more because we can find something for like 5 points, but we can't upgrade to for a grenade because we already got the grenade upgrade. We'd only have to upgrade, I think it's the gear. I'm not exactly sure what the name of it is. I can't remember. I'd have to open the book. I'm not going to do that though. So I'm going to keep it at that. So 789 points is what our army list is consisting of. And that is our final one that we're doing. So let's just set up all our miniatures in a row. We're not going to use the trays. We're just going to set them up on the table so we can have a closer look at them and have all our tokens and cards and so forth so we see what it is. So we'll be back shortly. One more thing I forgot to mention is when you are done, don't forget about your battle cards. And into the previous video, it does explain about how you go about using a battle card. So just be aware of that. So I'm going to just take them off the trays, put them on the table, and I'll be back to show you them all set up in glory. They're not with terrain or anything, but I'm just going to sand them into their corresponding units. There you have it. This is what the army looks like in total, and they are broken up into units. So again, your Snowtroopers, speeder bikes, Boba Fett, Darth Vader, and then your 3 core units of Stormtroopers. And that's all it is to building an 800 point list for Star Wars Legion by Fantasy Flight Games. It's not difficult to do. Again, all it is, you can use one of the army builders that I mentioned previously that Richard actually told me about. Well, I did not know anything about that, so thanks again for that, Richard. And also too, as well as, or you can do it manually by on paper and pencil or pen, or you can use a calculator. It's up to you. Thing is get as close as you can to 800 points, but you don't necessarily have to get close to 800 points. The thing is when you're determining the blue player and the red player, the points will come in to consideration to see who's the blue player and so on, but we're not getting into that yet. I'm going to save that for another video. So until then, Board Game Maniacs, I hope you enjoyed this again. Thanks again, Richard, for helping me out. I appreciate it. It definitely opened up my eyes. And again, if I had any rules mistakes, please comment down below. Timestamp the video, refer to a page number for that specific version of rulebook, and say like, you did this, but you should have that. I don't want to talk about, like that list sucks, or, I would have added this better. Actually, I would like to know if you would add different things to it to help me out when I'm building a list when I'm going to play a game, a full 800 point game too as well. Again, I just did it to show you exactly how to build up to an 800 point game in Star Wars Legion. And that's it. So until next time, Board Game Maniacs, stay tuned for another rules video for Star Wars Legion by Fantasy Flight Games. Thank you very much for watching this, commenting, for subscribing, and also for hitting the bell notification and sharing it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And until next time, Board Game Maniacs, be a maniac. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Boo.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to keep up to date with Board Game Maniacs, click on the like and subscribe button to be notified when more videos come available. If you want to become an official sponsor of Board Game Maniacs, go to patreon.com/BoardGameManiacs. Or you can go to streamlabs.com/BoardGameManiacs1. That's right, and you can donate to help keep the lights on, keep food in our bellies, and play more games. We'll purchase more games, more equipment to make Board Game Maniacs evolve and get bigger and larger. Because of you, the viewers, I thank you from the bottom of my toes to the top of my head for all of your support. And until next time, Board Game Maniacs, be a maniac.